Hi, this is Honey Smith Walls with Cannabiverum. That's Latin for Cannabis Truth. And I'm here today with a little story. And I'm so thrilled that you came to hang out while I'm doing the podcast. I want to tell you a little story of where my people say they came. My words say only what they tell me. And then you feel the victim's pain. It's ancient tribal time I'm telling, when only few lived side by side, because surviving was a struggle, when years were good and time was kind. I heard commotion from the garden, where children 3 played in the shade. I stood to see a sickle slice them, and knew the farm was under raid. I made way cross the field to big stream, our people gone all dead and burned, as trembling fear filled day in bad dream. I'm now the only life unturned. I find small girl from my village. She comes with me now in her pain. Her family killed for farm and creatures. Her choice like mine, now much the same. The search is long for place to settle, no trust of strangers as we were. We would have starved but for the seed oil, and now we need new place on earth. We traded seeds for place on sailboat. It got us far from home of pain. Our seeds would grow so many riches. New world for us, but not the same. We grew the seeds and made the roping. The oils kept fires bright at night. The smoke would lift our lowly spirit and keep the men from want of fight. We made strong cloth from fibers woven. Our seeds grew more than just an oil. The village gained from all its glory. The plant would live from village toil. From field to village this seed came, and prosperity happened to all. For use of this plant we are happy, and please let it not be forestalled. I'll be right back. So, that was a segment of our podcast, my podcast, Ours, You and Me, since you're here helping me do it. And I appreciate the energy that I get from you all. I know you're out there. I know you're listening, and I really appreciate it. If you think about it, hit the like and subscribe button. It helps. It changes everything for my company. It really does. And please, please go to my website and be a hero today. You can download actionable documentation to help you as a medical marijuana patient if you have to go into a hospital, a rehab, or maybe an elder care facility. You think those guys are going to let you have your cannabis? They're not, because they don't have any kind of procedures and protocols. They don't have any patient release forms. They've not discussed it with their board of authorities. It's still a Schedule 1. They're scared to death of getting funding jerked out from underneath them because they have obligations to the federal government too, because they get funds from them. So it's all, round circle. We've got to vote, kids, got to vote, and make sure we've got the right people in the right office so that they understand all the ramifications that they're looking at when they're making decisions for you and me. So go to my website, cannabiverum.com. That's CANNABAVERUM.com. And you'll see all kinds of links about everything cannabis. And right now, let's save that segment, and we're going to call it segment 1. We're going to call it CV 006. Segment 1. And so that little chop segment just got thrown in my library, and we're going to start on segment 2. What I found, if you want to be a podcaster, is that if you do it in 5-minute segments, holy cow, it changes everything. So it gets you out there. You can also have places where you can put little commercials and all kinds of things. So I'm just learning all of this now. But God, it's fun. It's so much fun. By the way, I do this on Anchor right now because I can do it from my podcast. They made their platform so easy for us. It's very user friendly. Very, very user friendly. So if you're even thinking about a podcast, and I'm egging on some of my friends. Jay, I'm talking to you. I am. Eldonna, I'm talking to you. And so if you have friends who want to try a podcast, come join me and follow along in my progress with it. I'll tell you what I'm doing. It's so much fun. And right now, I'm doing it all on the cheap. As many free things as I can, like YouTube is free, Anchor is free. I've had, headsets, the headset that comes with your phone. You can do it from your phone or your iPad. It's just, it's so easy. Anyway, let's get back to podcasting. I'm going to start on segment 2 right now. Also, they'll ask you if you want to publish it right now. No, I want to go back and listen to it first, put a bunch of other stuff with it, and then I'll publish it. So for right now, I just put that segment in my library, in my podcast library, and it'll be waiting for me there when I get done with all of this. So here is our next segment. Thank you for coming back with me on this podcast for a little cannabiverum. This old poem was passed down from mother to mother of how cannabis started to travel around the world through tragedy, circumstance, and the entrepreneurial spirit of a woman in need. You know what they call that? The mother of all invention. Selling cannabis oils for fires, rituals, cloth, and medicines, the ancient woman could have lived, could have bartered, or bought what she needed. She could have been called upon to heal the many painful issues of the day with her herbal remedies. And she would have used the fibers in creative ways to make papers and rope and jewelry to sell. The commerce from the fibers and oils of those tiny seeds, those same seeds we know today are considered by science as a whole food because it's packed with so much nutrition, so much that one could subsist off of cannabis seeds if one had to. Ask Shiva. From the beginning of written word, when the first pharmacopoeia, called the Pinsao Qing, was invented by a Chinese emperor, to list all the herbal remedies known to mankind at that time. That time, 2,700 years before the birth of Jesus, telling the stories and giving us great detail in usage of cannabis for calming all kinds of issues, including the swollen uterus of an English queen in monthly pain. Much, much later, of course, in different versions of pharmacopoeias. But it was all there, continually written and expounded upon. Even then, it was written that cannabis would quell seizures and become a treatment of rheumatic pain, constipation and malaria, and so much more. With this wide variety of curatives and creative uses, cannabis was utilized worldwide in all major societies, in all major religions. Check out the cannabosum, told about in Catholic liturgy, when God directs Moses to use it as an anointing oil. Cannabis is a type of grass that has manufacturing, practical, and medicinal values. And this is where you can learn about the long road this plant has traveled to today. I want you to know the most important facts about medicinal cannabis so you don't overdo, you're always in control, you get the very best results. And then we're going to stay on top of politics so you know how and who to vote for to get the proper support in your government agencies for the kind of loving nation we want to be, because love must win. And we must be able to utilize the plants of this earth to give us relief. I want you to know the most important facts about medicinal cannabis. So, I'm going to tell you those few things that you really, really need to know every single time we're together. The first one's going to be about contamination. I need to go get a drink of water. If you'll hang in there for just a second, I'll be right back and my throat will feel better. Stand by. It takes a minute for it to spin around and get all this stuff going. So now it is, and now I can begin again with the third segment. Each podcast show is different, but they'll have at least 2 segments so I can put a commercial between them. And then I have an introductory segment, and I have an outro segment, the outgoing segment for the episode. And I put a couple of little blings in them. You've heard bling, and some music to make it a little more interesting. And so we're getting back to the third segment for this particular show. I had a lot to say. I may have already said this to you, but I'm not sure I said it on the podcast, so I'm going to go ahead and say it again. It's important. I want you all to know in my podcast audience that I'm also videotaping this show. So I'm telling my video audience a little more about the show and what the production is like of it, and they get to hear other things and more, you know, juicy little tidbits while we're chatting. So I'm not sure if I told just them or if I told you as well. It bears worth repeating if you've heard this before. Last night, Kamala Harris was on debate stage with the current VP, and she said she would instantly deschedule marijuana. Not only would it heal so many issues for patients and prisoners, especially prisoners of color and women, it would instantly jumpstart the economy and bring back tens of thousands of jobs in manufacturing. You can do so much with hemp. Hello, hemp cars, hemp planes, hemp houses, hemp food, hemp bedding, hemp paper, hemp. Oh, it makes me crazy to think of all the things that we could and should be doing with hemp right now and are not. I mean, oh, by the way, oh, well, that's another podcast talking about the toilet paper that we throw away. Paper pulp is one of the third largest industries around the globe. That's another one. We'll get back to that. But so happy to hear Kamala Harris. I love calling her Mamala Kamala. Mamala Kamala. And I think she and Joe are going to do a great job. Of course, you know, that's just my political opinion. You're welcome to your own. Anyway, there are renewable crops every 4 months in hemp and cannabis of any kind. And, you know, it's great. You can make fuel for cars, and you can make planes out of hemp and fuel for plane. You know, space shuttle isn't here anymore, but hello, going to other planets. And don't forget the Space Force. I'm sure they could use some hemp. Oh God, I apologize for that. You all just heard my ire come out. The fact of the cannabis matter is that science has finally busted through our pre-programmed minds, and we're able to see what the truth is from their clinical trials and RCTs. Those are random control trials, the only kind of scientific trial that scientists even consider. So, because all of that has to be done, and they are beginning to do it. They'll do lots more when it's descheduled, and so that's coming soon. Please let it come soon. Anyway, this grass is really good for humanity and animals. If you don't want to use it, that's fine. I don't get a flu shot every year. I don't trust it. But I'm not stopping you from getting one. So I expect the same courtesy when it's for my pot or my abortion. Keep your opinions out of my rights as a human. Poor California is burning down, and all their pot crops with it. Even if the crops are not lost, the whole state smells like wood smoke with burned chemicals too. And nobody's going to want to buy that product. They're going to need to import, but guess what? The law doesn't allow. See why voting the right people in who understand the issues and don't listen to the old propaganda is so important? Society has already decided they want to use cannabis again, so now we have to put the best people in leadership positions to carry out the will of the people. That's us. So plan your vote. And the last couple of things I want to remind you about is cannabis safety and the Be a Hero free documentation you can get to change the cannabis culture in your neck of the woods today. Oh, wait a minute. Let me get a drink. I'll be right back. And I really do need a drink. And guess what? I didn't bring it over here, and I'm attached by wires, and we're live, so just gonna have to, oh well, tough it out. I'm writing the segment, 3, I think it is, segment 3. Yeah, segment 3. And then saving that segment to my to the Anchor download library in my account, and it's doing its little thing. So now it's ready, and we're ready to go on to segment 4. So this will be the last one for our podcast. Just have to see. There we are. Where to start? Okay. So thanks for hanging in there with me. Like I said, the last couple of things I want to remind you about is cannabis safety, and I want you to be a hero. So how can you be a hero? Well, first of all, let's go back to talking about cannabis safety, because that is the most important thing you must learn to manage for yourself. You have to protect yourself, and I'm going to tell you how to do it. And I want you to spread this news. Literally, make it go viral. Because right now, we are in the wild, wild west of cannabis. So, remember this. Cannabis is not like regular meds that are synthetic and processed into the form of a pill. Cannabis is a live plant therapy. So there is a lot that can go wrong in the process that might not be good for you. And I'm talking about contamination, molds, mildews, bacteria, pesticides, fungicides, herbicides, heavy metals, and bat shit, I'm sure. If you're already a patient with a weakened immune system, that stuff is going to kill you. Autopsies have already proved it. So to find clean cannabis, purchase from a Florida licensed dispensary. They already have to, by law, have their product third-party lab tested, all of their products, for contamination before they sell it to you. So you're safe there. Any Florida, I'm only talking the state of Florida. Remember what I told you about Michigan? They don't lab test. They don't lab test before they sell you their contaminated weed. And all street weed is contaminated. All of it. So, but in Florida, by law, those dispensaries must comply or they get shut down. That's just all there is to it. And you can be assured that the dispensary cannabis has been third-party lab tested for contamination, and that they are actually putting in that product jar or container what they said is in there, like so much of this or so many of that, whatever. So it's all there. But that is not true for CBD stores and hemp shops and people selling CBD at the gas station and the dollar store. Do not buy your hemp products at gas stations or dollar stores. Just don't do it. None of them are third-party lab tested. They don't give a shit about your health. They don't give a shit if you ever come back and buy from them again. They deal on volume, and if they never see the same customer twice, it's okay with them. They don't care about your health. Do not buy from gas stations or from dollar stores or any product that has not been third-party lab tested. And there's going to be a little something on the box that's going to tell you it has been, a little code. Your phone can take you right to that website where it proves with the certificate can't say the word. It verifies that that product has not been contaminated. So That is the most important thing that I will be talking to you about on every single podcast. Be clear about what you are about to put in your body. And then you will be in control and will be safe at all times. So now you know what to look for. That third-party lab testing on any product that is that you're about to ingest, whether it comes from the grocery store, the drugstore, the gas station, or whatever. Look for verification that you're safe. So, and if you're looking for a good CBD product, I know you're wondering, who would I use? I love Charlotte's Web. Go online, charlottesweb.com, or Google it. They're one of the oldest companies. They started the great medical marijuana mothers migration to Colorado because of their hemp product that quelled the seizures of all of those poor babies with epilepsy and other terrible diseases. And so I have to stop here again, but I will be back to tell you the very last thing. That was another 5 minutes I had to break off. So now I get to talking and not looking at the time. 006 segment 4. Okay. It's doing its little thing, throwing it in my library. I saved it. And then okay. Now we're going to start 1, 2, 3, 4. I guess we have 5 segments this time. Sorry about that. Had a little upset and had to leave off in the middle of my segment. So we're back, and I was saying cannabis is not like a regular synthetic pill. And you now know how to find a clean, uncontaminated product to try to use for yourself by checking to make sure it's got that third-party lab testing. Also, I was about to tell you, I love Charlotte's Web. It's a really great CBD. Go online. And if you're just looking, you might be able to buy that here in town at Elevated CBD Shop, downtown Old Melbourne, or you could get some really great CBD hemp products at American Shaman. There's three of those stores now in the Melbourne, Palm Bay, Merritt Island area, and lots more dispensaries coming online too. So hallelujah, we're getting a lot of cannabis support here. American Shaman, 2 or 3 stores, really great product, nanotechnology. You can squirt some in a drink and drink it up, voila, you're done for the day with your need for your cannabis medication. If you're already, let's see, where was I supposed to go? If you've already got your product, it's been third-party lab tested, and you're going to take it home and try it, yay, good. I just want you to remember that you're going to have to be your own guinea pig. And that's okay. You know, we're used to the doctors telling us how much to take, when to take it, and live with the side effects. Or come back and I'll give you a different pill with different side effects. You're going to find some difference here in quality and all kinds of things. So, did I mention that you shouldn't use edibles? Don't mess with edibles unless there's a really good reason to use edibles, but not for the majority of people. Medicinally, I would say that medicinally, it's better to use any other way of delivery other than an edible, because when it goes through your tummy, it goes through that great big filter, and they filter out, like, gobs and gobs of the medicine, so you don't get it. So you're just wasting your money on medicine that is not effective for you because it had to go through your liver first. So, okay, so don't do the edibles, do anything else. And that documentation about being a hero, that's all about if you or one of your loved ones have to go into a hospital, or a rehab or an elder care facility. They're not going to let you have your pot, honey. They're not. So, they're all terrified of the Schedule 1 ranking, and until cannabis is descheduled, then they don't even want to mess with it. But Florida is legal. The state and the people of Florida have said, we want this, we demand it, it's here, we're working the process safely, and it's legal in the state. So now, guess what I have that you can have for free? The documentation that these facilities desperately lack. The protocols and procedures and the patient release form. If you want those documents, I've got them. Go to my website, Cannabiverum, CANNABAVERUM.com, and go to the Be a Hero page. You can download all of those. All you have to do is send me your email. You can download all of those, have them for free, take them wherever you want, and give them to the administrations of those facilities to start the process so you can not be unencumbered by a lack of medicine when you go into a hospital or rehab or elder care facility. This is Honey with Cannabiverum. Gosh, I'm so grateful for your attention. Thanks for hanging out with me. And this has been the Cannabiverum podcast. So Big Mouth Honey went over her 5 minutes on that segment too. I'll have to snip a little bit of it out. That's the cool thing about these podcast platforms. They teach you how to do it. And there's YouTube videos to teach you how to, snip podcast feed. And it's just really easy and fun, and it's working your brain while you're stuck at home alone, and it's a good thing. And I know you have as much talent and skill as I do. I'm 66, and there's not a reason in the world I can think of that you shouldn't be doing this too. I think this is a good way to connect with each other. Anyway, this is me saying goodbye to you, and we appreciate you being here with us. Take care. Until next time.